Pardon the fan noise, but it's really hot out here. I've got 3 or 4 fans going. Got my Portacool, another floor fan there, and then another squirrel cage fan in the back. So I want to get started on my Dasco 399 restoration. The Scoutcrafter's episode with that same name, the Dasco 399, he called me out and he says, you know, I got to get a fire under Joe's butt to get him to restore his, and I think that'd be sort of fun. I don't necessarily look forward to going up against Scoutcrafter in any type of restoration, but I will do my best. So this is going to be the restoration today, but before I do that, I have to clean my workbench off because I'm, you know, messy and I'm moving. And let me get this cleaned off and I'll bring you back and we'll get started on that Dasco. Alright, well, I've got the workbench cleared off now. I'm reshooting this for the second time because I went off on a tangent and started talking about the shop. But the task at hand is this Dasco 399. I think it's a 399. It looks a lot like Scoutcrafter's. But we're going to take it over and get it cleaned up. Yep, I can see that it is a Dasco 399. So let's take this over to the wire wheel and to the sander, and then we'll start to dig through this and see what it looks like after that. It looks to be in pretty good shape, and from what I can tell now, you can see that what I think I'm looking at here is gray paint from roughly here to there, and then black paint above there. So I'm not sure if I want to go back to painting this or how I'm going to approach it, but we're just going to make some progress on it and see how it shapes up at the end. So let's get started. So I had it over at the belt sander, and the belt sander, I'm trying to take some of the scars out of here, and I wouldn't be able to do it without wiping out the name. And for me, it's hard to see when you're in there working. I mean, I know about where it's at, but especially with the new blade, when I have a new belt on there, it's easy to get a little overzealous with it and really burn through these. And like Scoutcrafter, I'm trying to take this ridge down. I don't know if you... And I've taken down quite a bit of it, but you can see that relief there. And the belt sander does a good job for that, but what it doesn't do for me is get into this top section here. Let me turn another light on. It doesn't really, to get into all these little nooks and crannies, I shouldn't say that it doesn't. It can, but I don't think that it allows me it doesn't afford me the kind of control that I prefer. So what I'm going to use now is a die grinder with a little flappy sanding disc on it, and I'll be able to come in and look at exactly what I'm doing and use just this edge. I mean, you can get pretty precise with this die grinder. So let me go ahead and start to clean this up, and we'll see how that looks. So the last thing you saw in the time lapse was this squishy disc, and this one will help conform to the shapes, the oddball shapes that are in here, and that sort of rounded out some of the high spots. And I've got, I think, 120 grit on there, and it's left some pretty deep. I think the paint should cover it, but in an abundance of caution, what I think I'm going to do now is take this over to the fiber wheel and give this a once over with the fiber wheel to sort of give it a nice even finish. Because the fiber wheel sort of splits the difference between sanding and buffing, as far as I'm concerned. The sanding is, you know, the main take bead off kind of stuff, and then buffing is, you know, that fine finish. But the fiber wheel will remove a little bit of a material, so I think it'll be a good intermediary, and I'll go over with that, and then I'll give it a nice coat of paint, and we'll see how that looks. The D, I wish I had a stamp set, but the probability of having a stamp that fits that perfectly would probably be, you know, really, really slim, if not none. So, I don't think that I don't have the skills. I imagine if you had a fine pick of some sort, you could get in there and sort of reestablish the D. I just don't have any means of doing that. So I think right now you could, I wish I had a microscope, but the finish on there is sort of a burnished finish, if you will. I think that's the term. So it's got a light sort of satin finish, I guess would also be appropriate terminology for that. Now I'm going to wipe it down with some brake parts cleaner, and it's nice and bright out in between showers, so I'm going to try to get some paint on this, and I'll bring you back when it's finished. I was letting it dry. It's sitting fine, sitting here, perfectly fine on the bench, and then I said, oh, I'll take it out, put it in the sun, and then I dropped it with my greasy hands. Now I got to start over again. Here's my Dasco 399. I've got the Duplicolor. It's the Torador red. I sort of like this color, and the reason I went with this color is because Scoutcrafter had called me out on this and said, let's see Joe's Dasco. I thought it would be appropriate to paint this red, sort of in honor of Scoutcrafter. However, I don't have any red, and I think what has happened is that over time, I don't want to cramp his style. Everybody knows Scoutcrafter red, so I said, well, I can't paint stuff red anymore, so I just don't own a can of red spray paint. So this was the closest I had to Scoutcrafter red. So again, not a real complex restoration or anything like that, but I think this is a really neat little tool. I don't know, tools like this often find, weird applications. I don't unbox crates very often, if ever. But undoubtedly, this will come in handy in the shop. And I think it's fun, and I look forward to sharing this with you also. I hope you're having a good weekend. I'd like to thank you for subscribing and watching, and I always welcome your comments and whatnot. So thanks. Have a good one.